All right, today we're going to talk about how to make a data table. On some of the labs that we do, you'll already have a data table provided to you, but oftentimes you're going to have to make the data table yourself. So we have some guidelines for making a data table. First of all, your data table is going to have three main columns, and those three main columns are going to be, first column is going to include your independent variable. It always goes in the left-hand column. And remember that the independent variable is going to be the thing that you're testing. Also, remember to include a unit here if that is applicable. So here is your independent variable. The second thing is going to be the dependent variable, and the dependent variable is going to go into this middle section, and it's going to be the biggest because the dependent variable is what you measure, and when you measure the dependent variable you have to do several trials for a valid experiment. So you're going to need to subdivide that big main middle column into how many trials that you did. In this data table, 3 trials were done. And then the last is going to be the average of the dependent variable with the unit, also called the summarizing data column. That's going to go on your far right. Now, on your notes, it tells you to shade in the different areas for the independent variable. That's going to be shaded in yellow. The dependent variable is going to be shaded in orange. And then your last or your right column is the summarizing column. That's going to be shaded in red. So how many columns do you need? Well, you're going to need three main columns with the dependent variable subdivided into the trials. How many rows do you need? Well, you're going to need a row for the headings, so that's going to be a little bit bigger. So you can see here, this is the headings row. And then underneath that, you're going to need a row for every level that you tested, every level of independent variable that you tested. Here, they tested 3 different angles for the tailgate position, so they have 3 additional rows. So a row for your heading and a row for each level tested. Remember, when you put these levels of independent variable in, they need to be organized by either greatest to least or least to greatest. Don't put them in just some random order. Here they've gone from greatest 90 degrees to least 0 degrees. Then don't forget a title. This is the thing students forget most of the time, is to include a title for their data table. Your title for your data table has to include your independent variable and your dependent variable. And the format for writing the title for the data table is the same format for writing the title for your scientific experiment. You're going to write the effect of IV on DV, and you're going to capitalize the important words. Notice here in this example, the effect of tailgate position on the amount of fuel consumed by a truck over a constant distance. They use the effect of the IV, which is the tailgate position, which you can find right here in the first column, on the DV, which is going to go right here, which is going to go here, the amount of fuel consumed. So you can pull these for your title from here in your data table, because this is always going to be the IV in the first column, DV is going to be in the middle column. And then the last column is going to be your summarizing data. So that's going to be usually your average or your mean. Mean is another word for average. You're going to add up all of your trials and then divide by the number of trials that you had. For quantitative data like numbers, you're going to use the average. And if it's qualitative, which we don't usually do, you're going to be using the mode. All right, so that's what you need to know about making data tables. Next, we're going to be practicing that.